Hi, it is me, Pinky Orange Girl again, and as you can guess by the title and the thumbnail, I'm gonna make an analysis video about Splatoon's idols. Yeah, I know this isn't the most original video idea ever, but I still wanted to make it anyway. Unlike most idol videos, I'm not gonna rank them individually or make an analysis about their designs only. Instead, I'm gonna compare them to each other by their music. I'm still gonna talk about their designs and backgrounds, but I'm gonna be focused on their music and style and their pros and cons. Without further ado, let's first talk about the idols that started it all. The Squid sisters are probably the most iconic idols of the franchise with the most iconic song ever. Their designs are fine. I mean, they're more unique than the Playboy Inklings, but compared to the other idols, not so much. Despite all of that, they still have their pros and cons in their music specifically. So let's first talk about their positive aspects. Number 1, their voices are very cute and awesome. Props to Katy Pop and Maru Kikama, they did a stellar job and I can't think of someone who can do it better than them. Number 2, I like the instrumentals of their songs, except for most of their Splatoon 3 songs. It is very unique compared to not only the other idols' style of music, but even to the entire Splatoon 1 soundtrack. Number 3, their dances are very cute and easy to remember, just like how a lot of songs in the J-pop genre are. Their style is very kawaii, with very kawaii voices and amazing instrumentals. What can possibly go wrong with that? Oh, they did. At least in my opinion. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this, but hear me out. Most of their cons come from their more recent songs, but there still are cons about their older songs as well. Number 1, their new song still captures the Squid Sisters feel and spirit, but it kinda misses the point of what makes the instrumentals great. Just listen to the instrumentals of the original City of Color and its remake in Splatoon 3's DLC. Yeah, I'm sure you saw the difference there with the instrumental. It was a massive downgrade, to be honest. I mean, the vocals have improved, so that's something, but the instrumental just went downhill, and you're probably wondering how exactly did it fall down like this? Well, I can explain, kinda. Maybe it's because you can actually hear in the original instrumental the bass and the drums a lot better, but in the remix you can't hear them that much and the tone is very light. Even for the Squid Sisters is way too light, because with the old instrumental not only you can hear the bass and the drums as I said, but also the music is a little bit pitched down, so their high-pitched voices stand out more. But when the instrumental is also high-pitched, just like their high-pitched voices in the remake, it just doesn't really float together well, because you know why? Because there was contrast between the instrumentals and the vocals that also can blend in together. But in the remix, there isn't really much of a contrast when even the instrumental and the voices are high-pitched. I mean, look, I'm not a professional musician and I don't know much about contrast, I'm still in school, but in school when we are studying art, we are also studying contrast when we are drawing pictures, so they bring more life to, yeah. Okay, let's just stop talking about the instrumental and talk about the other cons instead. There's another Squid Sisters remix that also falls flat compared to its predecessor, but it isn't from Splatoon 3, instead it's from Splatoon 2. And the song is... drumroll please. Spicy Calamari Incantation. This song also had a massive downgrade on the instrumental. I mean, it is better than the fake City of Colors trash, but compared to Splatoon 1's version, it's less energetic, which leads to be less impactful as a result. Looks like Squid Sisters don't have it great when it comes to remixes. Except they did. No, not that one, I will save it for later. Oh yes, that's what I was talking about. Out of all emotional / end credit songs, this one is probably the most nostalgic to me when I listen to it. I think about all the great memories I made in 2020 during lockdown, when I was a Splatoon fan for the first time. Back then I could tell there was something special about the song. I never knew how one day this franchise will change my life and me as a person. And this song reminds me of how I got here in the first place. Now let's talk about why this so-called remix is much better than all the other remixes. Firstly, it completely changes the structure of City of Color, not only by just slowing it down and with a different instrumental, but also breaking other songs in Splatoon 1 and mesh them together to give this sense of what a wonderful experience you had in your life thanks to this one game. Before I start talking about the last song of Squid Sisters, I'll give you a sense of my opinion about their other songs in just one sentence. Ink Me Up, the song that never should be remixed. Bomb Rush Blush, this is a cute one, but not one of my favorites. Tide Goes Out, the better sold song. Calamari Incantation, the most iconic song in gaming, and way better than Mario's Ta-ra-ta-ta-ra-ta. Calamari Incantation remix, a very solid remix that is better than my spicy knockoff. Wave Goodbye, another solid song, but it is a knockoff of Maritime Memory. Tidal Rush, good lord, this slaps. Fresh Start, a very sweet song, not better than my Maritime Memories, even if I listen to this song in 2020 as well. Tomorrow's Nostalgia Today, very weird title, and I feel zero nostalgia towards it. And their most recent song, Liquid Sunshine, probably their most generic song, but not sure if it's their worst one. Phew! That took me long enough now, didn't it? Did you notice which song is missing from the list? Yeah, that's right. Their other remix. Hopefully they didn't screw up this one. They didn't. I'm surprised. Now this song isn't perfect. Heck, I like Ink Me Up better, but it isn't the worst version of Now or Never. We will get to its worst version later. The instrumental is fantastic, the voice performances are great as usual. Okay, let's just get into the bad parts of it because I don't have much positive things to say about it. It is a little bit too fast, and there were parts where the Squid Sisters didn't sing that slowed the pacing down a bit too much. Maybe if this song was a little bit slower and didn't have the parts where the Calamari cousins don't sing, it would have been perfect. Overall, despite their flaws, the Squid Sisters still remain as classic. Some great, some okay, and some pretty bad songs. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't have Off the Hook nor Deep Cut if it weren't them. Since my Splatoon artist ranking video, they still remain as my favorite artists in the entirety of Splatoon 1. But they aren't my favorite idols. My lord, where do I even begin? Off the Hook has one of the best songs in the entirety of Nintendo, and the fact that there were concerts with these two really goes to show you how much their songs slap. Yes, I'm aware that other idols also got hologram concerts, but Off the Hook just brings a lot more hype around. Just look how hyped the crowd is. out of all idols, I think they have the best style. It is solid EDM with hip hop and Pearl. They have the best Splatfest intro jingle in my opinion. I mean, they aren't perfect, and there are 3 songs that are not bad, but just okay, which means bad for a group like Off the Hook. Not only their music, their style, and their concerts are the best, but they're also the most fleshed out characters in the franchise thanks to the chat logs in Octo Expansion. Their voice actresses are great. Props to Alice Peralta and Rina Ito, who look just like the characters that are portraying. Marina is my favorite singer in the Splatoon universe, and her DJ skills are on point. Pearl is probably the most underrated Splatoon idol, and she's the best at hyping people up. I could go on and on for how many things I love about Off the Hook, but I want to talk about the 3 weakest songs. The first one being Now or Never. Remember when I said this was the worst version of Now or Never? Well, I lied for attention. Ha! Gotcha! This one is a little bit better than the Squid Sisters one, but not by much. The tempo is better, but I don't like how during the chorus no one sings the main melody. At least be Pearl to sing la 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 la, and maybe don't make her voice that much auto-tune. The second one is Acid Hues. This one is just okay. Maybe it is because of the instrumental being a little bit too simple for my taste, and the whole song is just very simple with no hook. See what I did there? No grabbing nor memorable part of the song. I feel like even for an Off the Hook song, it repeats its chorus way too often and don't get enough taste of its verses. The third weakest song is Fest Zest. This probably is the most forgettable song out of all, and not typically the song that most people associate Off the Hook with. To be honest, this is the only song that doesn't sound like theirs, and it sounds a lot more like a Wet Floor song with the guitars and more chill vibes. If you replace Pearl's rapping with a vocalist from Wet Floor, it wouldn't be much different. This isn't a bad thing. I love Wet Floor's music, and nowadays I feel the most nostalgic listening to them, but we're talking about Off the Hook here, and for their standards, this is their weakest song. I should now probably start talking about their first and strongest song, that is Fly Octo Fly, baby! Where do I even start with this? This is, and I'm not kidding, the best song in Nintendo's history. Yes, even better than the entire Mario Galaxy soundtrack, and a lot better than Life Light from Smash Ultimate. And the concert version makes it sound even more epic than it already was. Even if the second half of the song is just a reprise of Ebb and Flow, it is still fits for this climatic moment in Octo Expansion and also feeling fresh at the same time. A huge thank you to the composers of Splatoon. They bring so much life for this almost 8-year-old franchise that even Mario didn't have masterpieces until Galaxy came out, in my humble opinion. Another song I want to talk about is Into the Light. While it isn't as touching as Maritime Memory, it is still a pretty wholesome way to end Octo Expansion. If Maritime Memory brings me back to the days when I was a Splatoon fan for the first time, Into the Light brings me back memories from last year, which was my best year in my life so far, and hopefully 2023 is even better. I listened to it even in 2020, but not as often as last year, and this is the song to motivate me to sing better, so thank you for that. Before I talk about my favorite Off the Hook song, I will give you a sense of my opinion about their other songs in one sentence. Color Pools, the better city of color. Ebb and Flow, not as enjoyable to listen to it as Color Pools, but still a catchy one. Dudes beat, sleeping, English swearing, and this song is the definition of chaos. Ebb and Flow demo, not bad. And that's all I had to say. Nasty Majesty, it slaps so hard and I love it. Shark Bites, a little bit better than Nasty Majesty, but it still slaps just as hard. Candy Coated Rocks, not great, but a solid song with a very strange title. Tentacle to the Metal, not as good as Candy Coated Rocks, but still solid. Alright, that's all of them. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right. Muck Warfare is my favorite of the Hook song. Fly Octofly maybe is their best song, but my personal favorite is Muck Warfare for no particular reason other than it is the non-Octo expansion song that slaps the hardest. The concert version makes it even better, and I love how this is basically the first time that we hear Pearl sing the highest notes in the song instead of Marina, which is great. Overall, Off the Hook has the superior music, style, designs, and consoles than Squid Sisters. They're basically the upgraded version of Squid Sisters with more fleshed out characters, and yes, I kinda started liking Pearl better than Kali. Cancel me however you want, but my opinion won't change anytime soon. To be honest, the only thing I found a little bit disappointing, at least in 2020, was the fact that Off the Hook doesn't have memorable choreographies like the Squid Sisters, because I learned every single one of their dances and they weren't enough for 12-year-old me. But nowadays I don't have this problem at all, and only a few of their songs get choreographies, which is fine. Anyways, their music is near perfection and I can't imagine anyone else who will be able to make even better songs than them. And this didn't happen. If it isn't my ex-favorite idols with my ex-waifu shiver, and you'll see why I call them with X later. This is probably the group that I changed my mind about the most. One week they're my favorite idols, and another I don't care about them, and after I had to listen to every idol song, and in comparison to the other idols, let's first start talking about the positives. Anarchy Rainbow isn't only their best song, but it's the best song that gets performed during Splatfest. Yes, this song is much better than the kinda mediocre City of Color and the already great Color Pools. This song represents the feeling of getting together and celebrate and having fun. Spoilers for later, I suppose, but this is the only song that meshes Japanese, Indian and Brazil elements together with the instrumental only. The verses are great and they all get you a sense of all idols' voices, but the big man part should have been longer. To be honest, they kinda ruined this song in the concert version, but I don't know how exactly does it, at least to me, but you be the judge. The other three songs I'm gonna praise are their solo songs. My favorite one being Fries. The instrumental is charming and a little goofy, which fits for someone like Fry. The Indian elements in the song make it stand out from most Splatoon idols, and it is for me the only song from the solo trilogy that can be a great standalone song. Shiver solo gives me shivers. Because the instrumental complemented with her voice makes the song very beautiful and chill to listen to, and I have only two bad things to say about it. The first one being the tempo is a little bit too fast, and for a song like this it would have been nice to slow it down just a little bit. And the second problem is that there aren't many changes to her melody in Anarchy Rainbow, at least to the same amount as Fry's. The last solo song is Big Man's one, and I like the instrumental, and they actually make his voice work in singing, and you will see what I mean later. You know how I just said Shiver's solo was a bit too fast, well this solo is too slow in my opinion. Now let's start talking about what I love about Deep Cut, but not musically wise. I love the fact that they're bandits, which is a very interesting role for an idol to have in a story mode. Their personalities and lines of dialogue are always cracking me up because of their silliness, and that's how I fell in love with them to begin with, not by their music. Their designs are a perfect blend of the cultures that they represent while also feeling fresh and modern, and the contrast between Fry and Shiver is on point. They have the best news jingle and the studio out of all idols. Okay, these are enough positive things about them. Now let's get into the thing that drags the group down. Their music. I'm so sorry to say, but I have to be honest. Their music is the weakest out of all idols, and I feel like I'm gonna get cancelled. I will give you a warning: if you don't want to hear negative things said about a fictional trio, click away from the video. Okay, to show you what I mean by weak music, I will play the intros of 3 songs, and I want you to pretend that you don't know who Deep Cut are and this is the first time you hear these songs, and close your eyes. Notice how different each song sounds compared to each other. To be honest, when I heard Till Depp Duo's part back in September, I thought that was a new Off the Hook song. Why is this the case, and why it doesn't work? Look at the other idols. They all have distinctive style that is consistent. And if you hear these songs, even if you don't know who they are, you can still recognize that it's their songs by the distinct of their instrumentals. I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. So let's start analyzing the intros of these 3 songs that I just played. Anarchy Rainbow's intro is joyful and it gives this sense of having fun and celebrate just by its intro alone. Till Depp Duo's part starts more EDM-like, with the drums being louder and having no elements of any of the 3 cultures. I'm not an expert in any of the 3 cultures, and there could be something cultural that I'm missing, but in other songs it's a lot more clear to tell that. This song still slaps, but I can't help but feel like this song would work better if it was an Off the Hook song. And the third one being Smeared Canvas, which has an element of Japanese traditional instruments, but it sounds a lot more fusion-like this time. A lot of people praise this song, but to be honest, this was my least favorite song of theirs and always will be. By the description of each song's intro, you can tell what I mean by other idols being consistent with their music and style. And Deep Cut, by changing styles of their songs, they kinda start losing their own identity. They still have their own identity as characters, but music-wise, not so much. Not only that, but there are several times where they just straight up steal from other idols. There was a whole song that is just a knockoff of one of my favorite songs in the entirety of Splatoon 2. And yes, I am exactly talking about Hide and Seek being a rip-off of Shark Bites by Off the Hook that I made 2 videos where I switched the instrumentals, link in the description. I mean, in this song, Fry tries so hard to capture Pearl's energy and charm, especially in their concert version. Girl, just because you have a bigger forehead than Pearl, that doesn't mean you are better at doing the same things as her, and please be yourself. Now, this is a very unpopular opinion, but Deep Cut's concert was the worst. And yes, I'm aware that it wasn't allowed to scream in there, and this wasn't that much of a problem. The problem was how many of the songs they kinda ruined, and the fact that they tried to hype up the crowd while it wasn't even allowed makes it very awkward. And I didn't like how most of their songs weren't even performed. The song that they ruined the most, in my humble opinion, is Fins in the Air. First of all, the instrumental is less interesting, and the only instrument I can hear for the majority of the song were the drums that were very aggressive, which doesn't fit a song like Fins in the Air. This is not a seaside song. I know there are other instruments you can hear during the concert version like guitars and keyboard, but slow down these drums. Another thing that this song needs to slow down is Shiver's high notes. And yeah, she's the best singer in the Splatoon franchise. Props to Anasato who brought so much life to the character. But the high notes drag for too long, especially in the concert version of Hide and Seek, which makes it kinda annoying. Enough negative things about the concert. Let's start talking about what things did this concert improved. Firstly, Big Man has a lot more variety in his dancing and we can hear his singing a lot more clear now. Secondly, it kinda fixes the very weird instrumental of Hide and Seek, but not by much. Thirdly, it sounds like they're singing live, even if they don't, so that's cool. And lastly, their new models are way better than in the game. Now, I wanna discuss something that I still feel like I'm gonna get cancelled for it. Let's look back at the Squid sisters and Off the Hook and how each one of them brings something new to the table that otherwise wouldn't work if it wasn't underutilized. For example, we wouldn't have the Squid sisters if it wasn't for both of them. Because despite their differences, they managed to work together and bring something new to the table. Like, if it was only Marie the idol, it would have been boring because she lacks energy, something that is Kylie's strong suit. And if it was only Kylie, it also would have been boring because she lacks maturity for her to perform a song like Maritime Memory. The same thing can be said about Off the Hook as well. If it was only Pearl rapping and sometimes sing, it would feel repetitive because she lacks a great singing voice like Marina's, and if it was only her, then she would lack energy and hype. None of these groups would have been the same without one another. While with Deep Cut, there's a character who straight up doesn't bring anything new to the table because of how much he's underutilized, and that is Big Man. I mean, he's the first and only male non-humanoid idol out of all, and that's basically what he is. He rarely sings, he doesn't play an instrument, and the only thing he can do is solo dance, but Shiver and Fry can also do that as well, so what's even the point of him? I'm not saying that I don't like him, cause I do, but if the only reason he's there just to make a trio, then what is even the point? I'm so sorry. Even Fry sometimes can feel too overshadowed by Shiver, especially in the songs Fins the Air and Hide and Seek, their concert versions. It's like they can't seem to work together and give one another the highlight that they deserve, which sometimes can feel very underwhelming. I feel very bad for saying it, but nothing is perfect. And I really want to express my thoughts on each idol that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. In the only song of theirs where they seem like a great team and don't get overshadowed by one another is Anarchy Rainbow. Is there something else positive that I have to say about them? Yeah, I guess. The voices are incredible, props to Anasato and Laura Yokozawa, who also look like the characters that are portraying. Overall, Deep Cut still has a lot of potential for where the music is heading in the future, and hopefully they will find their own style by not copying other idols' homework, nor change it every 2 songs and find a way to give Big Man the spotlight that he deserves. Hopefully they will learn to work together a little bit more and not get overshadowed by one another. Now, you may say that I missed the part where I should describe my opinion of every single song of theirs in one sentence, and yeah, you're right. But I'm not gonna do that because I had the same opinion about most of their songs and I don't want to get too repetitive. So this is the end of the video, and in conclusion, every idol has their pros and cons music-wise, and they all are distinct from each other. Even despite of their massive disappointment in Deep Cut's music, I still love them as characters. Before I end the video, I will make a quick recap of how I feel about their music in one sentence. The Squid sisters. Very kawaii style with great songs and some pretty bad ones. Off the Hook. Every song of theirs is great and a masterpiece in their own right, and the instrumentals and style are the best. Deep Cut. Pretty disappointing at most of their songs, but they still have potential to make a masterpiece like Anarchy Rainbow. So yeah, thank you for watching.